Hey, this is Rob Anspach, and welcome back to another edition of eHeroes. Today I have Jane Sagalovich, and we're going to talk about scaling your genius. So, welcome, Jane, and thanks for being here. And what does scaling your genius mean?
Thank you, Rob. Really glad to be here. And what a fun first question. So, I think all of us have some sort of wisdom, some sort of genius inside of us that the world doesn't necessarily get to see enough of. There's various ways we hide it, there's various ways we may even sabotage it. But if we can be in a place where we can really bring our genius to the world in the biggest way possible, that's where the magic, I think, really lies both for ourselves as well as the people we can impact with that wisdom.
Yeah, I mean, with me, I think that was, you know, I, for those who follow me, I've written a lot of great books. But my genius came about, I think, when I switched it to the Rob versus books because they're pure sarcasm, pure wit. They share stories, but also teach a lesson. And I've had more people hire me because of those books than all the other books combined.
Yeah, yeah.
They see the real me. They see the sarcastic me. They see that it's not that, oh, you just wrote a book to be it, and you stripped out all your personality.
Would you say sarcasm is part of your genius?
I would say that it's 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think what I love about that example is I think sometimes you say genius to people and they're thinking something really complicated or complex where it's like it could be that straightforward.
Yeah. For a long time, I think I suppressed it because I wanted more people to embrace who I was, but it really wasn't who I was. The sarcasm is my superpower. And for all these episodes that I have created for everybody to enjoy, I think they've known that sarcasm has been deep down inside because they've listened to these. Maybe they've laughed along, but it just came about that I knew that sarcasm had to be part of what I do. It had to be part of what I deliver to people. Otherwise, it's not the true me.
Hmm. So I'm actually I'm going to keep interviewing you. How's that? I would be curious, and I think this is valuable for people who are listening. Is like, how did you know that it was time to find and uncover your genius?
Wow. See, I gotta say time out. No, uh,
Nope.
it's. I think you just know. And I know that's not the reason that or the answer that most people want to hear. But I think that there's a time that you just say, "I've had enough. I've had
Yeah.
enough of being everybody's nice guy." And this had gone back a while, and I thought, you know what? I just want to write a book that's from me, that's true to myself. And when I came out with Rob versus the Scammers, these were already stories that I had shared out to Facebook anyway. And so when I assembled them into a book, people were like, "Oh, wow, this is just so funny." And there was a few other people that said, well, "Yeah, but you already shared this on Facebook. I read this stuff, or you put it on your blog. I read." Others were like, "Yeah, but I liked how you packaged it all together. I like how it is, and I like how I can just sit there and read it at lunch or dinner or wherever, and I can laugh and I can understand you better." And I thought, wow, I should continue this series. And then I came out with Rob versus the Morons, and then Rob versus Humanity, and I have another one coming out in April of 2021.
Hmm. Yeah.
And I like making people laugh.
No, I love that, and I think what you shared is what a lot of us go through. Is like at first there's just the knowing, but also a trust, right? That like between your knowing and the time you started get external validation for this, there was probably a certain period of time where you just had to say, okay, I'm gonna like tune out all the must do's and all the noise and just trust that this is my right path, that my
Well,
genius does get to shine.
the very first book I wrote um, was Share 27 Ways to Boost Your Social Media Experience. And it was all about giving people easy ways to share, your life on social media to get them to know, like, and trust you. And, there was a lot of great stuff in there, and I that book sold. I mean, right after I published it, sold 2,000 copies right away,
Mm.
and I was like, "Wow, this is great." And I wrote other books, but when you look at that book versus what I'm doing now, they're totally different. And people, are saying, "I really, I really like these books because I just I can feel, I can be in that situation, and now I know how to handle it." And I thought, well, that's great. If a scammer calls you, or you have this situation at work, you know, right there it is, in the book, how you can
Mhm.
deal with it. And maybe it's not your cup of tea, but for me, all I wanted to do was make one person laugh.
Yep.
And you know, everything that you do in life, I think, has to contribute to your legacy. What do you want to be known for? And yeah, great. I can help you with marketing, and I can help you do all this brilliant stuff to increase your business. But you know, without that laughter, you're not going to trust me.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and I think, the other thing that's interesting, like when you talk about sarcasm and bringing your personality into your work is we help, you help people with marketing. Well, so do a billion other
Hmm.
people. What people will be attracted to you is that special flavor that you bring. And the more you can show that to them, the more the right people get to be attracted to you too.
Yeah. I mean, but on the same respect is that I don't want everybody to be attracted. I want to repel some people. and
Absolutely.
and 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 I do so in the book in such a way that the people that don't like sarcasm, don't like wit, they'll be turned off by the books right away,
Yeah.
and they won't hire me.
Hmm.
But those people who do buy the books, or do get the book somehow, they're more inclined, because they laughed along, to hire me, and I've made more money on those 3 books from clients than I have on all the other books combined. And it's just because I found my niche. I
Yep.
found what makes people, laugh, and they're now encouraging me to write more and more of these series of books, because they just, and especially in this era that we're in with this COVID, people want to be reminded of how to laugh again.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We
So
need the light.
yeah, we do. And it's not just about me. It's about helping you survive. And when you run your business, however you run your business, you have to do it on your terms. And I always explain that to people, is like, just because another business does this, or this is how it's always been, doesn't mean you have to do it that way. And I always tell people, look, I get paid up front, and they're like, well, that's not how your competition does it. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not my competition.
Yeah.
You want to deal with me? These are my terms and conditions. And those who get it, get it. Those who don't, they'll go somewhere else. And
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I think to follow that thread a little bit, it's I find it to be dangerous to be stuck in your own industry. I know there's often a trend for um, entrepreneurs, anyone business owners want to hire experts who only work with their vertical,
yeah,
and I think that's got blinders on because like you said you're gonna learn how the people in your industry do it, so the best you're ever going to be is the best out of your competition, whereas really the field is so much broader than that and so much bigger, and the best practices and the true opportunities really lie outside of that.
yeah, and you know, eh, those who know me know that for 20 years I had a carpet cleaning business. And you're thinking, wait a minute, if this is the first time you're hearing this, you're probably saying, how did you go from being carpet cleaner to this marketer guy that writes books? And well, there's a whole story there. But you know, in a nutshell, I started creating my own marketing when I had the carpet cleaning business, and I knew that I wanted out of the cleaning business. And most of my clients now are not in the cleaning business. They are lawyers, they're doctors, they're speakers, they're professionals. And for me, that is where I shine, because I can help these people, learn how to be more comfortable in their skin, learn how to clean up their marketing to be more effective. And maybe it's all those years of me cleaning that I'm still bringing it in and cleaning up after others. But honestly, it's where I shine.
Yeah, and it's your ability to bring something that, if someone's been a lawyer their whole career, you probably have perspectives that they would never have.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and I think the ability to bring that to people is so valuable.
So let's get back to you.
Like, who invited this girl?
Yeah, but see, this is the cool thing because it's not scripted. I have no idea what's going to happen, and sometimes it gets flipped around, and I get interviewed, which I'm better at interviewing people. So let's talk about you. You help businesses build and scale, and so what's your typical client like?
Yeah. The core of my work is helping experts create online programs. So I was doing this pre-COVID. We're recording this October.
Hmm.
In the middle of COVID, online is just such a great way to be able to scale expertise because I always say whenever you teach something, you say something over and over again, you're wasting your time and your client's time.
Hmm.
So my clients are people who say things over and over again. Basically, they're experts. They have a coaching, teaching, training component, and some piece of that is repeated. So they may have a process they go through with every client. There may be a teaching component to what is otherwise a one-on-one or group support work. So there are therapists, dietitians. I've worked with lawyers, coaches, various consultants, trainers, anybody who helps other people do things at the end of the day and are able to, at least in some portion, disconnect the in person, the live component so they can create digital modules and then keep the live one on one component as much as is reasonable for their particular business model.
Yeah, I like that because most of know that you repeat a good majority of what you say day in and day out to clients every single day, and if you could just record that and share it with others or your clients, you would probably save about 50% of your time every day to do something else.
Absolutely. And especially if you record it with the purpose of using it for people for
Yeah,
specifically this purpose is even more. Now, a lot of people will do a live workshop. They're like, well, that was amazing. I'm going to put that online and call it an online course. And because it wasn't created with the intention of it, it's often just a really crappy experience for the
yeah,
people, that's like, wait, I'm kind of watching someone else being at a workshop.
yeah.
What is this about? So those things make great marketing materials, but they
Yeah.
don't make great digital assets.
And I think anybody can create a course. I mean, I tried to create a course 5 years ago off of something that we created for social media, and I look back and I'm thinking, boy, that sucked. That
Hmm.
was horrible. And we sold a few things, and people did like them, but honestly, I thought it was just horrible, and it could have been so much better. And I'm sure that there's a lot of things that you've seen that should just be tossed in the trash.
My tagline is "No more crappy courses," and I think the experience you had, I think it's an interesting one because like there's so many amazing people creating really crappy courses,
Yeah.
and it doesn't have to be that way. And um, there's a lot of really bad best practices circling out there.
Oh
There's a
yeah.
lot of, I think one of the big flaws is there's just, you're a marketing guy. There's so much focus on marketing. People sometimes forget that they're actually building something that they're selling, that it's
Yeah.
not just about the marketing. And, a lot of the clients that I get have taken some course about courses and they're like, okay, I know how to sell it, but I don't have anything to sell.
Yeah. Or they get on LinkedIn and start spamming the crap out of, hey, you want to buy my course? I don't even know you.
Yep. I've actually, so for any, this is a good tip for anyone who has a course or wants to build a course. You never sell a course. Nobody wakes up one morning saying, I'm going to buy a course today.
Yeah.
It made me think of that because I did get a LinkedIn message saying, are you looking to buy a course? I'm like, what does that even mean? And so, then kind of marketing 101, like, what are you actually selling when you're selling the course? It's never the course.
Yeah. It's the material. It's
It's the result. Yeah, it's the
the
outcome. It's
results,
the
the
results.
outcome.
It's yeah. Maybe the experience of the experience is amazing, but yeah, I don't wake up saying I'm going to buy a course today.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't buy a course from me. Buy the experience that you're going to get afterwards.
Yep.
You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And I everybody's, everybody compares. They say, "Oh, you have to create a business like Disney." It's got to be this magical thing that when people come, they experience all this great. Disney is Disney. You have to create the thing that resonates with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Disney. I go there frequently, but for me, it's you have to, if you don't create something that's true to yourself that resonates with
Yeah.
you, when you try to sell it or try to push it onto somebody, it's not going to resonate well because you don't know how to sell it. You don't know how to believe in it.
It's not yours. Well, there's a reason there's only one Disney. I mean, even was it Euro Disney couldn't even make it.
No, it's you know, I just think that there's too many people out there, listening to some guru. Create your course. Create your course. You got to have a course. No, you don't have to have a course. You
No.
just have to have the right way of getting out there in front of people.
That's exactly it. Are you able to serve the number of people you want to serve, make
Right.
the amount of money you want to make? If the answer is no, a course may or may not be one of the solutions.
Right.
Yeah.
And then everybody else is out there pushing funnels, and I'm like, really? You have all these funnels to get to this course that nobody's buying, but you spend all this money on the funnels. Uh,
Sounds sexy.
yeah, to me, it's a giant headache. I don't use funnels. You want to buy my book? Go to Amazon. I'm not pushing it.
Yeah.
And I know I could probably do 100% better, but the people that know me, they know where to find me. And I guess I'm just the antithesis of that guy that's out there selling constantly. But
The
yeah, to
internet
me,
marketer.
it's all about the know, like, and trust. And you know, they have to really know me. They have to really trust me before they are comfortable buying from me. And
Absolutely.
but once they are, they're going to stick with me for life because I'm just, I consider myself that one last true Boy Scout. I will do
Yeah.
everything I can in my power to make you profitable.
Yeah. And I think, the human connection at the end of the day, I think people, you probably see this more than I do in the marketing space. People want a magic bullet. They want a solution that will shortcut it. Um, and that's just not what's out there. I just had one of my clients just launched her program, and so I asked her to write, answer some questions that I can use for testimonials. And one of the questions was, why me?
Hmm.
And she said, I've gotten to know Jane over a period of time. And, when the time was right for me to invest in a program like this, she was just the only choice for me.
Right.
But it was somebody, who's been on my email list, who we had a connect, had some conversations, and we built a personal connection to where when she's ready to invest in getting support with this, it was, well, I'm going to call Jane, of course.
Yeah.
But people want to, sleep with someone on the first date. And
Yeah.
that's sometimes it could happen, but generally that's not how things go.
No. And the pricing of courses is all over the board. I mean, you go in and someone's selling their course for $19 and they guarantee you the world, and then someone's selling it for $1,200, and you have 3 days to return the thing because. But where do you come up with the pricing for this? Because honestly, I just think they draw it out of a hat sometimes.
Well, and sometimes I mean, pricing is art, right? It really is. There's so much psychology that goes into pricing.
Oh
So
yeah,
I think,
I,
yeah, I
I
mean, you know this. The
but
$19
for me,
Mhm.
coming out of the gate, I'm going to have my price high because that's how I am. But for those coming out at $19, I'm like, what's the benefit? Who are you going after? The low hanging fruit, or do you guys want the person up there who's going to give you a lot of money at the end of the year?
Yeah. And is it, I know there's one model in the funnel world where the $19 is like the step beyond the free thing to see if they're willing to spend the money to take them to the next thing. And I'm definitely not a fan of that model because somebody who pays me $19 is not going to be the same person who pays me $10,000
Yeah,
usually. So there's zero correlation to me. So I think sometimes those $19 courses are just a really bad marketing play, or
yeah,
not I don't want to say bad, but a marketing play that I don't use.
right.
Um, High quality courses, which is what I specialize in. We really started about $1,500
Yeah,
and go up to 10,000 and above because the value, if you think about the experts and the value they're bringing in their work, that's what we're recreating.
bingo.
And the value of that is huge.
Mhm.
So the price is correlated to the
Yeah,
value.
yeah, and I mean, how to be a millionaire. Our course is $19.
Exactly.
No, I'm going to sell you the course for $1,000,000, and I don't have to only sell one.
Yeah, right. And now you're a millionaire.
I'm a
that's
millionaire.
that's how you become a millionaire. You sell a course for $1,000,000.
That's right.
Done. Lesson one, number one.
Yeah, and no money back guarantee. So
Yeah,
I'm going to be off on some island. No,
exactly.
but
Yeah.
yeah, you have all this experience, all this expertise, everything that you've ever done packaged into something that's going to make somebody, you know, uh, hopefully, re-energize them and make them more money in the long run. So of course, that course needs to be priced higher. To me, that $19 is like a carrot. Hey, buy this course. Oh wait, after you buy this course, we have this other course for 47, and then this next course for 1,500.
Exactly. Yeah, they're taking you up the value ladder. And it's, there's I don't there's a that's a business model that's out there that works for some people and they love it and that's cool. That's not my work.
Yeah, and see, you found who you want to go after. And a lot of entrepreneurs out there, I think, especially now in this times that we're living, is that they're desperate for work.
Mm,
They're hungry, and so they'll accept anything that comes after them. Hey, are you breathing? Great, you're a client. Oh, you only have $19? Great, I'll take that
there you go.
because
Yeah.
to me, no, no, no. Go after the right types of clients that you really want out of the gate, because what you're going to find is that you're going to be more enjoyable. You're going to actually make more money in the long run, and you're going to have a business that fuels your passion. And when a time is when we can actually travel again, can afford you that those traveling plans.
Now, I'll tell you where the $19 course does have a really cool place, and I have some clients that have done this, is specifically as a charitable component. So they'll create their flagship programs, which is thousands of dollars. That's where their core income is. And they may have a passion for being able to support with their specific work a set of population that will just never be able to afford them at their regular rates, but they're super passionate about creating it, about helping them. So what they can do is have a separate business, a separate arm, a charitable arm that does provide that course to those people for, we'll call it $19. That's the number we're playing with, but it's done as a specific charitable component while they're making money over here. They've also the R&D time, the investment of money and time that they spent creating their course was paid back through their full paying clients.
Hmm.
So they're not losing money on the charity clients. They've made the money. They're now able to give back to whatever communities they're passionate about with these lower price courses.
Right.
So there is a place for that, but just not in the core model necessarily.
I mean, what makes a course great? I mean, for me, going back and off camera, we had talked about Tony Robbins and his courses and this is going back 20 years. I mean, these are when courses really started getting into the mainstream and people knew about them. And it was sort of right when the internet was exploding as well, you know, but people knew Tony. They
Hmm.
knew what he was about. So they were more willing to shell out the money. Now all these people that are coming in with courses, they have a limited audience. They don't, not a lot of people know them. So how do they make their course great out of the gate so people buy them?
Great question. Personal support. So when you first create digital modules, they're going to make perfect sense in your head. They may not make sense to anybody else on the other side. I mean, we all know, there's probably so many correlations to that and everything else we do. And so if you create a course and you put it out there, you have zero feedback on what's
Right.
actually happening. So the model that I teach and recommend is called the hybrid digital course model. And what it is you create the digital modules. These are the same modules that'll be your standalone course someday. Could be the $19 course for, a certain demographic, but you are providing either one-on-one or group support in addition to these modules. So what happens is, your client will take a module and then you'll have a conversation and you'll start noticing patterns on their questions, which will inform you of gaps in your digital modules that you'll need to update. So if everyone's asking the same question that you thought was answered in the course, you're like, well, obviously they're not interpreting it that way. So you get so much amazing feedback while your clients are paying full price for them. So this isn't no beta. This is not a beta. This is not a test. It's a full launch. Your product is out there. The digital modules are what they are. But because you're supporting them along the way, they're getting an amazing experience and you're getting data.
Yeah.
So you're ready to launch something without support only at the time that you're seeing that the digital modules are being received the way you think they are.
Wow. Yeah. That's why my first course was horrible. And the thing is that, when you create a course without the support of someone who does this all the time, or, even write a book without the support of someone who does it,
Yeah,
you're
you
going to
can't.
fail,
You
but you're
can't.
good. You're going to learn a lot. But it's going to be a very expensive, time wasting, lesson.
Yeah. And you won't really know what you right. So let's say you put out this course and people buy. So you have marketing, you hired an awesome marketing person, people are buying the course. It's so hard to troubleshoot, but you're not providing any support. It is so
Right.
hard to troubleshoot what's not working. Are they taking it? Are they even opening it? If they're opening it, how far are they getting through? Like, are they getting the results? You have no idea.
Yeah.
If you're
Yeah.
not having those conversations, that contact, you don't know what to fix.
Wow. Yeah. So, in the whole scheme of things, how do you fix it?
Oh, just by having by providing that support and understanding what the misses are.
Okay, so you take all that information and then go back, fix your course, and then because it's digital, can you just insert where you need to, or do you have to redo the whole course?
Yeah, so I upgrade. So I deliver my work in the same way. Digital hybrid course. I have my digital modules and then one-on-one support. I upgrade my modules continually.
Okay.
The video, and it's a combination of ebooks and videos and audios. So videos, I don't re-record. I re-record annually, and I tell my clients when I come in, I'm like, hey, this, make sure you look through the ebooks. Those will be the most up to date. The videos will be re-recorded annually.
Hmm. So, so let's say something changes within this pandemic or something, or something outside of your control changes. That'll be updated first in the.
I would re-record the if it was yeah, I mean, I say annually assuming because usually I've been doing this for 3 years.
Yeah.
My changes are incremental, it's like a new software platform came up, I'm gonna add that to the list,
Yeah.
right? So it's the program's pretty dialed in at this point, so I don't but if I mean, in the pandemic, nothing, in my business, nothing it got busier, but
Yeah.
nothing fundamentally shifted. But if something happened tomorrow, I would yeah, it's easy enough to re-record and for people, watching, I'm in a hoodie in my living room. This is how I record my courses too. People always ask if they need professional equipment. I'm like, if you're doing a course on professional video recording, then probably. But
Yeah.
if you're teaching anything else and your people don't care what you're wearing in the video, then it's easy enough to record a video.
Yeah. I mean, same with my books. There are certain things, certain elements have changed. And if they're really radical changes, I'll go back and update them and resubmit. Um, but sometimes life throws us a curveball, and with my first book, there's I give you 27 ways, but within those components in those chapters, there's a few things that no longer exist, and I'm like, well, it's tough, it's done. But the
Yeah.
book's 7 years old, so I'm not going to go back and change too much now. It's so a lot of the books that I'm writing now are more evergreen.
I was reading Jim Allen's Get Things Done, one of the earlier editions, and he's talking about like the philo facts and all kinds of things that, like, was before software to do programs or a thing. So he was talking about some totally antiquated, like Lotus something or other. Yeah, the concept still made sense.
I was uh, I was looking at your Facebook, and looks like you have a pal with Spider-Man.
Mm, yes. Union Station in Denver.
So how is Denver right now? I mean, the last time I was there was Colorado. I was there was October of last year, and we
Mm.
toured the Mile High Stadium and went to a Dan Kennedy event. It was pretty cool, but
Oh, wow.
it was snowy, and I had a rental car, and I got snowed in, and I was like, no,
Yep. So it was 80 degrees yesterday. It is currently raining, about to snow, and we have a low of 2 on Sunday. So, yeah, just typical Colorado.
yeah, yeah. I'm in
And that's
Pennsylvania.
2 Fahrenheit for those listening.
Fahrenheit. Yeah,
So it's like a big negative number in Celsius.
that's
I used to
shorts
be
and
in
flip flop weather, huh?
Vegas.
No.
Yeah.
So, how do people get a hold of you when they're ready to create their course? And
Yeah. So,
what do you look for in a client?
absolutely. Somebody who's a true expert. And what I mean by that is they whatever they want to create a course on, they have experienced delivering those results in real life. I'm all for people starting new businesses and coming in with new ideas. And I think the best way to get started is to actually serve people one on one and to get that experience. And again, that feedback, just like with a
Yeah,
course, you want the feedback of how is the process you have in your brain working in real life.
right.
So once people have had their experience and they're either fully booked or they just want to spend a little less time on work, and they're now ready to add an extra income stream via these online programs. It does take some effort to create. It takes my program is 90 days, about 2 to 3 hours of work per week, potentially more, depending on how much marketing and content creation you need to do. So that's a
Mhm.
little bit of the wild card when it comes to time. And they're ready and excited and they want to do this. One, if you build it, they will come is false.
Right.
So, the people who just want to build it and not want to do marketing, they're not going to succeed. So I don't take them as clients. I have a full money back guarantee. So I don't take anyone as a client that I can't reasonably predict will do well. And people who expect this thing to just magically attract clients, that doesn't work. So I don't want to talk people out of it with the effort involved, but it is creating something brand new, a new
Yeah.
business model, and it takes some effort. So it's somebody who's ready and willing to do that.
And do you have a website that they can go to?
Yes, so they can find me scaledgenius.com. And it is currently being redesigned. I think it'll be finalized by the time people are actually listening to this. And I have some awesome free resources on that. I also have a Facebook group called the Genius Tribe. And you can actually just go to thegeniustribe.com and it will redirect you into the group. And it's just a fun place to hang out with other business owners, other entrepreneurs. Whether or not you're ready to create a course, if you have one, it's the place to be.
Well, at least a place to hang out so you can learn,
Exactly.
what you need to do to hire you. Because had I known, 5 or 6 years ago what I was getting myself into, and yeah, it was time consuming.
Yeah, and it
And
and it's it's even more time consuming when you gotta do it twice.
yeah, oh, and I'm like, I had everything scripted out. We had PDFs, we had video, we had this. We had a time frame. There was a 30-day course. They would get, and I'm like, this isn't working. You
So what
know,
do you think didn't work in yours?
um, I think it was the we had things that were ready for people, but people weren't ready for it.
Yeah.
Uh, and it was all about teaching them how to be better at social media, and nobody cared.
Mhm.
You know, they would say, "Well, I would rather just get your book, Rob, because it's probably going to give me the same information," and it did. You know, and they could spend $19 on a book, or $199 on the course. They would get more from the course. They would actually get the one-on-one,
Yeah.
but they just weren't ready. And this was 5, 6 years ago, and you know, I think nowadays you need to have something that is going to give them something that they can't get somewhere else. You know,
Mhm.
can they get the same material in a $19 book? No, because what we're giving them is one-on-one training. We're doing this. We're doing this, hand holding. We're doing Zoom calls. We're doing Facebook groups. We're all this things packaged together. We didn't have back then.
Yeah, yeah, and I think what's I have I've done several interviews about books versus courses and books and courses and how they're complementary, and I think they make such an amazing complement because a good course is a step-by-step guide on how to do something, whereas a book, there's probably more stories and it's interesting and,
Yeah.
there's other stuff in there, and even if the instructions in there, I know personally I find it really hard to implement anything just by reading a book.
Right.
So it's actually one of the reasons I started in, helping people with this in the first place is I would be reading all these books. I'm like, can somebody just like tell me what to do?
Yeah.
I went through the book. I kind of, I did the exercises. I got the free bonus material online, and I haven't done any of this.
Yeah.
And so, it is such a beautiful complement to each other because there's people who are like, yeah, the $19 book, I got it. That's all I need. Don't give me anything else. And then there are the people who are like, Rob, can you hold my hand through this process
Yeah.
through a course?
And what we discovered is that more people, at least from my perspective, they didn't want more courses. They just wanted somebody to do the stuff for them. So they wanted
Yeah.
a done for you project manager versus uh, learning this on themselves, which was more than they wanted to do.
Yeah, and to be fair, for $197, they're not going to get a great done for you project manager.
So,
I mean, we all want things done for us. If
yeah,
I think if we had a magic wand, most of us would do the done for you stuff. And as business owners, with our funds are limited, it's even a $10,000 course could be way, way, way more cheaper than a done for you
yeah, and
process.
there, a lot of them were paying more than that, for us to do it for them,
Oh
but
yeah,
they didn't want to do. And I'm like, okay, first of all, we marketed it to probably the wrong people. We
yeah,
had a course that people didn't need or didn't want, um, and we didn't have the audience at the time for it. Now I have an audience. I have massive followers, people reading my books. I could come out with a course and teach them how to be sarcastic like me, but honestly, I don't want you guys to be sarcastic like me. There's only one of me.
yeah.
But maybe I'll find something that I can teach you that you'll benefit from, that you'll be willing to spend some money on.
Yeah, I do have to say one more thing. In my program, in the Thriving Online Program Blueprints, in the second module, we go what I call the Dream Clients Revealed process, which is where we get our idea kind of flushed out.
Mhm.
And then we start talking to the people who we think are perfect fit clients. There's a lot of feedback that comes through that process too, because usually, and no one has ever had to stop the process
Right.
or completely change the topic. It's usually super minor tweaks when done in week 2 of the process, super valuable. Doing after launch, it's too late.
Yeah.
So, talking to those people early on and asking the right questions and really getting that feedback not only gets you that feedback, but also those people want to buy. Like now that if you're talking to the right people, they can't wait for you to launch this thing. So when you do launch, you got a line out the door ready to buy your course.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what we didn't do back then. And so it's very crucial that, the people that are listening, if you are experts in what you do, reach out to Jane right now, and she'll tell you if you have something that's worthy of being a course and, what she believes is a success rate.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Rob. And everybody, please, absolutely. There's a link to schedule a call with me on my website. And I always joke that I talk more people out of working with me than talking them into working with me. I'm super. I'm picky is the wrong word. I want you to succeed. I want me to succeed. And if it ain't a perfect match, I won't even make you an offer. But I will give you some really valuable tips and point you in the right direction. So it's a
And
very low risk call.
and see, that's how everybody that's listening should operate a business. And I'm not saying you should be picky. I'm not saying that you should be like me and be mean but what I am saying is that you should have an idea in your head of your exact type of client, your avatar, and if they don't match, then politely point them in a direction that will work better for them. And it doesn't have to be you, because if you take on a client that doesn't fit, you're going to end up running into problems. You're going to end up being, you know, frustrated, agitated. You're not going to make any money, and you're going to wish them, the worst ever, Just, "Ugh!" So don't do
Nobody.
it.
I see it on Facebook and Facebook groups all the time. Like, what do I do with a client who didn't pay an invoice or they want their money back? Like, how do I enforce the agreements? I'm like, you give them their money back and never take a client like that again. That's what you do. You
Yeah.
do not try to enforce a legal agreement when somebody doesn't want to work with you.
Right. Yeah. It's just it's just awful. But everybody listening, go see Jane right now. Okay. Stop the recording. Well, the recording is going to be over in a few minutes, but just go call her, visit her website, do whatever you have to do. Make sure that the course that you want to design is actually going to work out and that it's going to be successful before you waste countless hours, time, energy into designing something like I did and not have it work.
Thank you so much, Rob. Thank you.
So
I appreciate
thank you
that.
for being here. This is why Jane's an e-hero. I'll see everybody on the next episode, and thanks for being here.
Bye, everyone.